October 1944. The Western Front was slowing down, but George S. Patton had no intention of slowing with it. His Third Army stretched dangerously thin across the Lorraine region, an exposed steel ribbon running east toward the German border. On the opposite side, the German High Command saw opportunity. If they could cut the American spearhead, destroy Patton's bridges, and choke his fuel, they could halt the Allied advance, maybe even change the rhythm of the entire Western campaign. But war rarely listens to perfect plans. What followed was not a brilliant German trap, but a study in how speed, improvisation, and communication can turn chaos into victory. Hasso von Manteuffel called it a fire brigade, a fast-striking force meant to plug gaps and crush exposed flanks. By early October, the Germans reorganized remnants of their armored units into small, mobile Kampfgruppen. Their goal: defend the Moselle crossings near the city of Nancy and, if possible, encircle Patton's vanguard before it reached the Saar. The German plan wasn't foolhardy. They'd chosen the terrain well: river valleys, narrow roads, broken communication lines. In theory, they could have sealed the trap if they had the fuel and air support to match. At Third Army headquarters, Patton studied his maps and fumed. His tanks had outpaced their own fuel convoys. "They tell me logistics wins wars," Patton wrote, "but I intend to win mine with attack." In truth, he was right, but not in the way he expected. The U.S. supply machine behind him, stretching all the way to Normandy, was about to prove that industrial efficiency could beat strategic perfection. American trucks, the famous Red Ball Express, carried enough gasoline to feed an entire steel army. But bad weather and German artillery made every delivery a battle in itself. For days, rain poured over Lorraine. Fields turned to quagmires, roads crumbled under for Sherman tracks. Fog blanketed the valleys, grounding Allied reconnaissance. To the Germans, it felt like a gift from the gods of war. Panthers crept forward unseen, engines muted in the mist. Yet nature is an indifferent ally. The same fog that hid the German tanks also blinded them. And high above, as soon as the clouds broke, American artillery spotters in Piper Cubs turned the battlefield into a grid of destruction. The fight for Nancy revolved around a handful of bridges, old crossings never designed for modern armor. Both sides knew it. Both wanted them intact. On October 11th, German tanks rolled toward the Mont-Rhine Canal under a veil of mist. Waiting for them was the 37th Tank Battalion under Lieutenant Colonel Creighton Abrams. Abrams didn't wait for orders. He split his battalion into rapid-fire teams, one to delay, one to flank, one to destroy. The Germans expected a frontal slugfest. Instead, they found themselves ambushed from the side by faster, though thinner, Sherman supported by Hellcats and artillery. Radio operators on both sides struggled to coordinate. Static filled the air. Despite the confusion, American spotter planes called in perfect time-on-target barrages that shattered German formations as they left cover. The difference, as always, wasn't in courage, it was in logistics. The Panthers were superb machines, their optics unmatched, their armor thick. But they drank fuel like dragons, and Germany had little to give. Meanwhile, American mechanics turned wrecked Shermans into spare parts overnight. Patton's expedient field repair zones recycled tanks as if they were factory units. War had become a production line, and in production, the Allies had already won. By October 15th, the German counterattack had spent itself. Commanders reported running out of fuel, ammunition, and even radio batteries. Out of 40 armored vehicles committed, fewer than 10 made it back to the German lines. Patton's brigades pushed forward, securing Nancy and the bridges intact. But the real victory wasn't just on the map, it was in the method. Patton had outrun not only his enemy but also the limits of old warfare. His army had become a living factory, fast, flexible, and endlessly supplied. In retrospect, the battle for Nancy showed the future of modern warfare, a contest of mobility, information, and logistics more than raw armor or firepower. The Germans built masterpieces of engineering. The Americans built a system. And that system could replace, repair, and redirect faster than the enemy could react. The key to victory, he once told his staff, is the ability to move. That autumn, in Lorraine, his army proved it. The battle for Nancy ended not with a grand explosion, but with the quiet hum of engines heading east. Germany's iron wall had bent, then broken, not through sheer destruction, but through relentless momentum. The war was shifting from fields to factories, from tactics to throughput. And within that transformation lay the foundation of modern warfare, a war decided not just by who fought hardest, but by who could keep moving longest.